We never really felt unsafe around the character, around the person of Joshua Milblati, General Butt Naked. Horrified by his past actions, yes, and emotionally or intellectually uncomfortable with being in that space with a figure like that and trying to reconcile your feelings about the man you see now, who can be quite charismatic and likable, and who he was in the past. But in terms of safety, that really wasn't much of an obstacle until he did go before the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And when those threats started coming out, that did become an issue that we were concerned about. And when we first went to see him when he was in exile in Ghana, I think initially, I certainly felt initially like we were safe because we were coming to Ghana. He had fled from Monrovia, so the issue of whether you start to feel uncomfortable and that you're spending time with someone who's now a target, and that sort of puts you at risk, wasn't quite in the forefront of my mind, because I think we were doing the right thing being far away in Ghana. But the threats continued while he was in Ghana, and some individuals that he knew were accosted one evening. There was a break-in in a house on the refugee camp of a friend and colleague of his, looking for him, and at that point that did become a very serious concern. And we did our best to shoot as quickly as possible during that time and get the material we were looking for. Clearly we were very committed to the story, but it definitely was an anxious time, and we did definitely look around and maybe not go everywhere at every time that maybe we might have wanted to, for fear that there might be reprisals.
Yeah, Joshua when he went before the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, he actually went against the will of a number of generals and warlords who had banded together and decided to defy the TRC process and say, we're not going to participate in this. So when he decided to go forward, there were a number of other perpetrators who were really angry with him and who threatened retribution. So being with him, he very much had sort of a target on him for taking that risk. And we definitely had some concern and had some talks about it amongst ourselves and also with other crew members before going over there for that shoot, that this is a concern. We are very much hanging around with somebody who is
at risk.
Yeah, and we had to make sure that everybody was comfortable with what those risks were and knew what they were in advance.